herzlich willkommen zu einer weiteren Folge Chäos Head Noah. So, beim letzten Mal wurden wir ja von unserer Schwester überrascht, die wir, finde ich, nicht gerade sehr fair behandelt haben, aber ne, ja. Nachdem wir jetzt nachdem der Hauptcharakter es geschafft hat, sie wieder loszuwerden sozusagen, sind wir jetzt hier. I sat down in front of my PC, shaking my mouse a little to clear the Saratan screensaver. Okay, das heißt... nee. Screensaver, jetzt. Ich habe eben an den Desktop-Hintergrund gedacht, aber nee. Das ist... damit er aus seinem Standby-Modus geht. I tried to take a sip of the cola bottle on my desk, but it was empty.
しまった。これ、ナナミがさっき飲んだやつだ。
Oh god, I just had an indirect kiss with my little sister. I'm gonna puke. Maybe if she was a little more charming, it would have been the kind of eroge-like situation I could fab to. But with that horrible personality, no chance. If anything, it would only make me more flaccid. I put the cap back on the bottle and then threw it at the big garbage bag in the corner of my room. But it didn't go in the bag, instead bouncing off the wall and rolling under my bed. Well, whatever. Anyway, time to dive straight back into ESO. I just wanna forget about the annoying real world as fast as possible. ASAP. Oder as soon as possible, so heißt das. But it wouldn't last long. Just one day later my immersion would be broken once again. Oh, kommt das jetzt? My mental state had been on the up and up lately. But the moment I stepped outside, it all came crashing down again. Damn it, why did I have to go to school today? It was so early.
なんで今日なんだよ。最低最悪だ。
Ey, dann kommt das jetzt. But it wasn't like I could just take the day off. If I did my minimum attendance shot, I would get all thrown off and then I wouldn't be able to graduate.
卒業って何を卒業するって言うんだよ。
But what's the point? What am I graduating from, really? I was the one insisting on going through with it, but I still couldn't help but complain. As I approached the well-feeding district of Matsunami, I finally realized I had been feeling a gaze for a while now. But this wasn't the usual gaze of God. I didn't feel any shivers on the back of my neck. Ja, stimmt, sie ist das. As I turned the corner, I took a quick, tiny glance behind me and I caught a glimpse of a girl wearing a sumo uniform. No way, was it the demon from yesterday? So, wenn man's da schon gesehen hat, dann weiß man die Antwort. I instantly lost my composure. An extreme amount of tension overtook my body and my walking became stilled. A moment ago it was quiet morning like any other, but now it felt like the entire world was out to get me. I could faintly hear the sound of birds chirping atop the phone lines. Yeah, doch. And I could also hear music from the morning news playing in nearby homes. In a peaceful scene like this, where crime would seem totally out of place, I came close to imagining myself getting brutally murdered. Okay, I needed to calm down. It was like I had clearly seen her face or anything. It wasn't like I had clearly seen her face or anything. And there was nothing strange about seeing so many students walking behind me. We were headed for the same destination after all. I would be fine. Even though school was straight ahead, I decided to take a hard ride. I was worried about what could be behind me. I desperately suppressed the urge to turn around. I needed to keep my cool and act naturally. My heart was pounding, but I kept walking. I continued for about a minute or so, until I decided I couldn't take it anymore. I slowly turned around. We made eye contact for a second, but I panicked and turned back around. Where was she following me? This path was obviously the long way to school. That meant she had to be tailing me. Either way, I had never seen her before. She definitely wasn't the demon from yesterday. That was for sure. She was wearing glasses, and the demon girl hadn't been. That fact alone was enough to calm me down. I decided to just head straight for school. I would have to skip my routine breakfast at the park because of it, but oh well.
くそ女子2名
Girl aim. To me, you're just some background character, pedestrian 1 or girl A, so stay out of my way, goddammit. After I entered the school, girl A disappeared. I had expected her to continue tailing me, but instead she turned and headed towards the third-year classroom. Maybe she was never tailing me in the first place, maybe I was just overthinking it. But still, it was definitely weird that she had taken the same detour that I had. Did she hate me for some reason? Had I done something to piss her off? I didn't think so. No, I couldn't have. I hardly ever went to school, and when I did, I tried to keep my presence very minimal. So then, what was she trying to accomplish? Somehow I had managed to make it through the torture known as school. On my way back, I made my usual stop at cafe. I took my seat in room 37. The nearby rooms are normally always empty, but surprisingly that wasn't true today. There was someone in room 36. The door was closed, but the light from the desk lamp leaked through the cracks. I couldn't help but click my tongue when I entered my room. Having someone sitting nearby posed a bit of a problem. Whenever I did things like chatting online, I had the tendency to talk to myself sometimes. Well, whatever, time to just ignore it and log into ESO already. As long as I make a conscious effort to stay quiet, it shouldn't really be an issue.
だよこいつら
The hell is wrong with these people? Wait till I slid my hand down on the keyboard. It had only been 2 hours since I started playing, and I was already this close to throwing myself off a cliff. The people I had partied up with today were totally noobs. I had been trying my best to help them, but one of them went all Leroy Jenkins and just died repeatedly. Then the other one was the mage, but he didn't cast any healing spells at all. As a result, we had just kept getting full party wiped over and over again. And yet, instead of figuring out why it was happening, all they ever did was continue to piss and moan in the chat. Fuck these shitty players. I finally just lost it. I proceeded to PK both of them, steal all their items, and instantly escape to another area. Everything Nighthead couldn't do, Lilotte couldn't without a second thought. This was exactly what I came all the way to that cafe for. Finally feeling a bit better, I breathed a sigh of relief and went to grab a drink. That cafe had a bunch of all-you-can-drink soda fountains in the reception area, and related to that was the only bad thing about room 37. It was kind of far away from the reception area. Diese Frösche sind da wieder. When I left my room, the door to room 36 was open. In order to make my way to the front, I had to go past it. I took a peek inside, and as I walked past, but there was nobody in there. Come to think of it, I had heard someone get up a moment ago. And also there was no one there. I saw a bag on the ground next to the recycling chair. It looked like a school bag, and there were a few toy straps hanging from it. They were gyro froggies, like the one Nanami had shown me yesterday. There were 3 of them in total. I guess they really were popular. Well, whatever. It wasn't like I cared either way. Besides, if the person came back and caught me staring, they might take me for a pervert or a thief. Realizing that, I decided to just go get my drink. However, right as I went to leave, my eye caught on the monitor, and I saw things new gen. And if that wasn't enough, it was in front, as if it was trying to freak me out. New gen. I had been deliberately avoiding any and all info about those cases. I really didn't want to know anything more about them, and as long as I kept avoiding them, I could keep telling myself that they had nothing to do with me. No, forget about that. More importantly, the customer next door to me was looking at a site laying out everything about New Gen. Was it just a coincidence, or did it mean something? For a moment, the face of the demon girl flashed through my mind, sending goosebumps across my entire body. I shook my head violently, trying to force those horrible thoughts away. I was just overthinking it. I had to be. Nobody was out to get me. I was just being paranoid. New Gen was pretty much all of the media talked about lately. By this point, anyone would be interested in it. That was all it was. Yup, no doubt about it. Anyway, I should just go and get my drink already, then get back to business. I quickly placed my cup under the dispenser and pressed the cola button. Delicious, as cold cola started pouring out. It was getting dark outside, which meant this place was going to get really crowded soon. There were already a few customers standing by the front desk waiting to be shown to the rooms. In the darker it got, the more people would show up. In about an hour or so, all the rooms surrounding room 37 would fill up. Once that happened, it would be time for me to head home. I took my cup and headed back toward my seat. On the way, I casually glanced down the hall towards the bathroom. That is then... Ich find's lustig, wie einfach so da hinten verschoben wurde. I saw a girl's figure had disappeared into the corridor. She had been wearing a swimmer uniform and had glasses on her face. I recognized her. It was the same girl that had been telling me this morning, Girl A. Eh? I thought I might have been mistaken, so I hid behind some bookshelves and looked towards the corridor, but she never showed up again. It must have been my imagination. Yeah, it had to have been. I'd only seen her for half a second after all. This place was typically swarming with sumo girls, and plenty of them wore glasses. But what if it had been Girl A? If she was here, what would that mean? Was it just a coincidence, or had she followed me? I was starting to get a little scared. I left the cafe and started rushing back to my base. In the end, my anxiety had been too much to handle, and I had left almost immediately after I saw the girl. I wanted to get home as soon as possible, but the crowded sidewalks were slowing me down. I was feeling sicker and sicker by the minute. I hated crowds. I always felt like people were watching me and snickering. A red pedestrian signal stopped me in my tracks. As if I waited for the light to change again, I couldn't help but take a quick look around. I didn't see Girl A anywhere. As soon as I reached the top of Dogenzaka, walking got a lot easier. Usually, I would take the least crowded way back, but after what had happened 2 nights ago, I figured I should stick to the main streets just to be safe. I was stuck at the red light again, so I took another look behind me, but Girl A was still nowhere to be found. The girl I had seen at cafe might have been a different person after all. Feeling a bit relieved, I let my tense shoulders relax and turned back around. Komm, keine Ahnung, ob was das macht, aber ich geh mal mit grün. Shocked, I took a step back. On the other side of the crosswalk, standing among the crowded, waiting for the light to change, was the girl. And to make matters worse, the gaze beyond the glasses were clearly pointed straight at me. She didn't even try to look away. Her eyes were so intense it was as if they were urging me to do something. The pedestrian signal turned green. Wir sind wahrscheinlich wieder in einer Delusion, so wie das aussieht von dem ähnlichen Girl A, and the rest of the crowd started walking forward. She was coming my way. I couldn't move. I was absolutely petrified. She didn't look away from me, not even for a second. She just kept drawing closer and closer, until she stopped right in front of me. My instincts were telling me to run, yet for some reason I couldn't move an inch. It felt like my consciousness had left my body. The girl reached her hand into her jacket, aiming for one of her inner pockets. Her motion seemed deliberate, as if she wanted me to see what she was doing. Was she going for a knife? For a pistol? A stun gun? Maybe I had just too much TV, but I had a bad feeling with it. I just couldn't shake.
これ
You. Girl A began to whisper something. The gaze deep beneath her glasses was unflinching. She had been staring straight into my eyes for what felt like an eternity. Dropped this earlier? She held out something to me, a student ID. I found it at the internet cafe earlier. I took the ID without much thought. The second I opened it, I saw my own name and photo. The ID was mine. Was no big. Wait, so, und wieder zurück. Mir ist nämlich aufgefallen, gerade eben, dass mein Speicher auf der Festplatte vollgelaufen ist. Und kurz davor war voll zu laufen, und daher wollte ich lieber die Aufnahme kurz beenden und ein bisschen Platz schaffen, bevor ich die Folge jetzt zu Ende aufnehme. Das wäre wahrscheinlich potenziell nicht so optimal gelaufen ansonsten, daher gut. By the way. Are you seeing anyone? Okay. Normie A flag 1. Time for my new life as a normie to finally begin. Normie is normalo. Oop. Brain circulated. I suddenly snapped out of it. The pedestrian signal which I had started turning green was still red, and girl A, who should have been right in front of me, was now back on the other side of the street. Had that all been just a delusion? Yeah. This time the pedestrian signal actually turned green. All the pedestrians started crossing at once. I couldn't move, and girl A didn't move either. She just stood there, staring me down from a distance. We were the only ones standing still, as if time had been frozen for just the two of us. Why was the girl in glasses not crossing the street? Why was she just standing there? It was strange. Really, really strange. I needed to stay away from her. I should just run. I will just run straight home. Run. Wiping my weak withering heart into shape, I broke into a sprint. I ran back down Dogenzaka, trying to put as much distance between me and girl A as I could. On the way, I turned to enter a back alley. And right as I did, I crashed into something and toppled over. Pain shot through my entire body. I groaned, not fully understanding what had just happened. The pain was so bad I could hardly stand. Looking up, I saw a big motor scooter lying on the ground. That must have been what I ran into. I gritted my teeth and tried to force me to my feet, but my legs just weren't able to hold me up. Well, it didn't seem like I had broken any bones, at least.
大丈夫ですか?
Oops. Before I knew it, girl A was right in front of me. She was peering into my face, eyes full of concern. What the hell was up with this girl? My body wouldn't move. As pathetic as it sounds, I was scared shitless. I had no idea what to do. My plan had been to catch a train ride to Shenzhen and get home that way, but now I was starting to regret my life choices. Girl A asked me timidly. Was she acting all worried so I would drop my guard? You won't fool me. I won't fall for your tricks. You're 3D French.
なんだよ。ついてくるなよ。僕に何の用だ。
Panicking, I lashed out at girl A, who just stood there in surprise. I tried scuttling backward to make some distance, but I was still flat on my ass. If I didn't get away from her, she would reach into her jacket and pull out a knife and jump me. Yeah, that was my thought process anyway. That gruesome scene flashed through my mind over and over. All I could think was, that's how I will end up. The girl hung her head, looking a little hurt.
あなたが急に走り出して様子を見に来たら倒れてたので心配で。でも今は用事とかあるわけじゃないんですが、
Yeah. She didn't want anything from me. What? That didn't make any sense.
じゃあなんで付きまとってくるんだ。
それは
She was getting flustered. I just couldn't get over how suspicious she was acting. Also damit ist es raus, dass sich ihn wirklich gefolgt hat. Das kann sie jetzt nicht mehr irgendwie runterspielen.
私楠木優愛って言います。
Kusunoki Yua. Nobody asked her to, but she suddenly started introducing herself anyway.
実はあなたのこと一目見てなんとなく存在が気になって、それでつい。
But she had just instinctively started stalking me. The girl whose name was Yua apparently kept lowering her gaze as she talked.
ごめんなさい。
She bowed her head vigorously. There's no way. That was the only thing in my mind. Taking another look at her, this Yua girl was pretty cute. I had to give her that much at least. But that was exactly why I couldn't trust her. A 3D girl who wanted to interact with me with good intentions? What kind of arrogant was this? My whole life, nobody had ever said anything like that to me. There was no way I could take her confession seriously. It was just way too out of left field. What did she think? I was humping for joy or something? Did she forget she had been stalking me until just now? Sure, that kind of thing might work in the 2D world, but IRL, it was certified boner kill. Also, this whole situation was really embarrassing. All I wanted was to get out of here ASAP. Just talking to her made me anxious. 3D really was total dog shit.
僕は3次元に興味はないよ。いや、
I rushed as when I tried to say something harsh, but I had to clear. Don't follow me anymore, I don't like it.
迷惑だよ。付きまとわないでよ。
すいません。
She sure looked disheartened. Maybe she had actually meant it. But don't fall for it. You can't trust anything about 3D woman. You can only trust 2D. You can trust Saratan far more than this harlot.
もうついてこないでね。僕帰るから。
As I mumbled incoherently, I tried as hard as I could to stand up, but I struggled. My body was still hurting all over the place. My collarbone in particular was being a real bitch. The pain was making me feel kinda dizzy. I might have hit my head when I had fallen down earlier. I almost fell over again, but you caught my hand and stopped me.
怪我してるんですね。手貸します。
I tried really hard not to make eye contact. I could feel my face turning bright red. She would definitely make fun of me if she noticed. So I turned away and forcefully shook her hand off. My mind was total blank. I have ever touched a female before. Except family members, of course. My heart was beating out of my chest.
お家まで送ります。あなたが怪我したのは私が付きまとっちゃったせいですから。だから送らせてください。
I felt really happy when you asked me that. I wasn't really used to being treated kindly by others. Every other 3D woman I had interacted with before was utterly vile. But this girl, I was actually starting to warm up to her a little bit. But I didn't have the courage to look her straight in the eye. I mean, she had been stalking me, and she also might have been related to the demon girl, and I didn't wanna die. All sorts of thoughts flew through my head, but I couldn't focus on a single one of them. My mind was a total blur.
ちどこですか？
深セン。
深セン？
I nodded before instantly regretting it. Why the hell had I told her that? Was I expecting something to happen if I did? This had been one of my delusions. Maybe karma had put me on a lucky streak just so it could become to beat me down later. You saw that cliché all the time in anime. This must have been some sort of death flick. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Before I knew it, Yura was trying her best to prop me up with her shoulders. Her soft body was tightly pressed against mine, and I could smell a sweet skin coming from her long hair. This couldn't be real. There was no way a 3D girl was being this nice to me.
歩けますか？
I nodded in response.
じゃあ行きましょう。
Her voice almost sounded nervously, then with my head pointed down at the ground I slowly started to walk. She had done so much for me at this point I couldn't turn her down or shake her off anymore. I was out of options. I just had to let her do as she pleased, leaning on her delicate shoulder for support. The two of us got moving. Neither of us said a word until we reached the building where my base was located. After all, there was no way I could hold a half-decent conversation with a girl, let alone one I didn't know. I knew that the second I would bring up anime or video games, she would automatically go, ooh, what the freak, just like every other 3D girl. She wouldn't even bother listening or trying to understand. From my point of view, there was just no point in talking to bitches like that.
ここでもういいから。
The grammar was about all I could muster, and I looked at Yura to make sure she understood it. She gave me a gentle nod in response and removed her arm. I was still a little unstable, but I managed to stay upright.
やっぱりお部屋までついていきましょうか。
I completely ignored her suggestion and walked towards the lobby. Well, I say lobby, but it was really just a narrow entryway to the elevator hall. Still, the moment I lifted my foot to start climbing the small staircase leading up to it, a sharp pain ran through me and I nearly fell over again.
大丈夫ですか？
You rushed over him to support me. Damn it, why wasn't she still here?
やっぱり部屋まで送ります。絶対送りますから。
She sounded almost desperate. I hated to admit it, but Yura had been a huge help, and in the end she had taken me all the way back to my base. To get me there first we had to go all the way up to the 8th floor, then take a step flight of emergency stairs up to the roof. In my current state there was no way I could have ever possibly managed that alone. Yura wasn't strong in any sense of the word. She was very clearly running on fumes. And yet she had helped me up the stairs as if her life depended on it.
こんなところに住んでるんですね。
Yura was left speechless when she saw my container house. No surprise there. Normal people probably would never believe someone could live in a container.
なんか憧れます。アウトローな感じがしていいですよね。こういうのって。
I never thought she would say something like that. Was she just trying to flatter me or something? You won't fool me, wench. I will never fall for 3D girl's tricks. With you still propping me up, I walked up to the container door, removed the padlock and stepped inside. Whew. I was finally back. Today was another total catastrophe. This was why you really couldn't beat staying indoors.
真っ暗ですね。電気のスイッチはどこに？
Did she really not have any shame just coming into my room like this? I mean, to be fair, she had brought me all this way here on her shoulder. But I really didn't want her seeing the rest of the room if I couldn't help it. I mean, I had dozens upon dozens of figures lined up on my shelf, piles of aerial boxes on my back, and trash all over the floor.
もういいから。 話して。
After I said that, I waited for you to let go of me, but she didn't budge.
床すごく散らかってじゃなくて歩きにくいと思うんですけど絶対危ないです
Oh.
ソファーまで行きましょうそこで話しますから
In the end, I just kept doing whatever she said. The couch was covered in CDs and magazines, but you quickly cleared them out of the way as quickly as she could, while still holding me up anyway. As soon as she finished, I sat right down. Man, she's just so sweet and caring. Wait, what am I saying? I'm not gonna fight for it. I'm not.
平気ですか
The two of us were all alone in the room. It was almost pitch black, save for the tiny bit of moonlight shining through the open doorway. Und an dem Punkt würde ich sagen, beende ich jetzt auch die Folge. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal.